Stocks holding on to slight gains here. A few upside a little bit this morning ahead of more employment data to come this morning in the form of weekly initial jobless claims. We'll get the contingent claims number as well coming up at 8:30. A little bit higher of a number expected this morning. We'll talk about that coming up on the back of what we got yesterday in the form of non-farm payrolls. Monster beat. 130,000 versus expectations anywhere from 75 down to about 40, so much better than expected. We'll also get, of course, inflation data coming up tomorrow morning at 8:30. CPI on the way, and where this overall economy is at. That's how the NASDAQ is setting up this morning. Back basically right in the middle of chop fest on a daily chart for the Qs. Go. Lots of individual names to talk about this morning moving around, including one we haven't mentioned on this show. I was just looking at the chart of Fastly, a better part of 50% on the morning on the back of a huge beat for FSLY. Crocs to the upside. Whole bunch of names I don't really deal with all that often. Memory stocks as well, showing all kinds of strength this morning. Maybe that trade comes back a little bit. MU, one of those, looking pretty good in the pre-market, just taking out the highs. Before the session highs here before we came back on 426. I mean, crypto is in play, memory stocks are in play. It's Thursday, all is well.
A ton of earnings names to get a little today. There's no shortage of anything. No shortage of things to talk about or trade. Good morning, guys. Down 6 3/4 after a mixed report there. AMAT as well, down a little bit. Looking to break 7.5. Astis, oh no, Ram, that's one of Ram for the year. That's down 9 3/4 on an offering. So there's a whole lot of volatility on brands, which owns Tim Hortons, of course. Also reporting Brendo. So
I didn't even see that for Ramin. Well, I'm sure we'll remind her of that as soon as she walks through the door. Coinbase as well in focus here. Some analyst firm I've never heard of before, Monness Crespi Hart. Double downgrading Coinbase, sell from a buy ahead of earnings close tonight. So I don't know if that means anything, but I think it's an important report for them, potentially.
I feel like the whole crypto tailwind in the legislative body, Brendo, has kind of come to other things right now. So the stablecoin legislation, some of the, not the stablecoin legislation, but the under the CFTC's purview, all that is kind of stalled. So you feel like, we definitely legislative branch separately. There are rumors, whether you believe it or not, that President Trump was waiting for that $60,000-ish level to come in on Bitcoin, add to the strategic reserve. No confirmation whatsoever of anything like that, just widely speculated online that was a base. But yeah, you feel need a tailwind to get injected here to kind of buoy this sector.
I don't know if it's let's wait and see what happens tomorrow with inflation. Something else needs to happen here maybe in a couple of weeks. I was double checking this morning, the 25th of the month, we'll get NVIDIA, which is going to be another big check mark for conductor argument here. So yeah, Coinbase kind of chopping around here so far this morning in the pre-market. Yesterday, down day the prior, a nice bounce going into last weekend to start this week. So with coin after the close tonight, guys, a little bit more focus on crypto once again. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Coinbase after the bell, we already had. That's going to be on watch today. Day 2 SSR, so it might be a bit of a bounce. But real earnings names that got mentioned. I get McDonald's and movers at the offering with ASTS there. No love for Crocs. 15 upside Crocs. It's been rough go. It's kind of sucked. The chart, it doesn't get better, so there's almost no point in doing that. But Crocs up 15 points as they have a strong report and trying to break it out. Let's see if we can hold on. There's a lot of, bottom pick this. And meanwhile, you have so many things where you've actually made a constructive bottom and are trying to break out or fresh highs. Just look at the industrials. Sharif was pointing out Bud. There's so many things out there which are, just names that have been breaking. You got energies that's been super strong, so that's something you can definitely watch. And of course, we'll probably still talk about crypto because as much as we bounce, I just keep looking at this ETH, and every time I look at ETH, I see a 1 and a 9. Hey, 1979, that was a good year. It's always right under 2,000. I don't think I've pulled this up, and we haven't been sitting just underneath. You hold 2,000, and you know I'm still looking at BM&R, giving short opportunities there. Yeah, so going to be a lot to watch. Coinbase after the bell, we'll get there, but plenty of other names that are already moving and are already in play.
Yeah, no, hey, welcome everybody. Idea again for this monster trade one more time. I mean, it's I'm still gonna go with the thought. I don't know why is it saying SoFi up there? SoFi, we can look at it ahead. You know, I'm gonna continue with the thinking that, you know, heading into earnings now, 2 weeks away for NVIDIA, that we try to climb up, and we talked about this yesterday. We try to climb up and, you know, see about last earnings areas here. So we're looking like we're about to break right here right now. We got a new deal in there with opening up a Taiwan location for NVIDIA there, potentially relationship with TSMC. So that should help sort of buoy that sort of about going long on NVIDIA. So yeah, I mean, if that comes into play, we'll definitely look at that. And we have some areas of concern there down to 91. We'll see if we can get some bids, which is not too far for that right now. We saw Oscar with an upgrade as well. That made our watch list, and we're looking for some names. And some of you have mentioned silver to trade in there. There's a couple of mentions of Intel today as well as a possible trade. But yeah, silver looks pretty toppy up here around 77, so we can short that. I mean, it's at 75, so we got to get a little bit of a move up to the 200 period, $70 or so for silver. So probably add that to the note here today. Team Canada plays today, 40 or something like that. It's an early game, so we'll see if we'll get some Canadian updates going on to that. Ooh, FAC announces full year results.
Yeah, that's right, they reported.
Right now. Nothing, I guess. It's these things. I've never even looked at this off reports, but you guys look like we're getting too much action on FMCC. But yeah, welcome to the jungle one more time. Should be lots of stuff to trade, as the boys talked about. I probably won't be here for it, but this is their IPO that's kicking off today. Petroleum space, Arco Petroleum. So their is. I thought it was about 200 million.
240,
yeah, 240. So we'll see if that gets.
Tomorrow's is the bigger one.
Oh, is there one tomorrow? Okay.
There's 1.2 billion Clear Street to be tomorrow.
Okay, 1 billion though I saw APC, so similar. But the run that XOM has been on, wow. So I can see some of these energy fueled up here for today. But yeah, anyways, they passed Visa. Crazy run. Now 600 billion a market cap for VLO, and the XLE trade keeps on working as well. I mean, this was a trade that, like I said, we put on a lot of percent ago. This is up 18% weeks, XLE and some of these energy names. So the epic, rise that this name's had. Beginning of the year, $45, 55 right now. So thoughts on Tesla I see in the chat. Yeah, I mean, I haven't dug into this chart yet. I mean, I thought we would probably this Tesla yesterday. Took it for a ride. Wow, it was crazy. We bought it a little too early at the 200 and had to withstand that 420 print. So, I'd hate to say it would be like 423, 422. I didn't think we would get to those levels yet of that pop. So we'll see if we can get a drop in Tesla today. But the market seems to be pretty good today. I know we're heading downside, but there's some much. Yeah, not by much, and I think that there's in this market, So let's wait to see. Yesterday we were throwing a wrench at 8:30, right, with the and that was just a huge beat, and then it gave it all back, and then we ended up,
I think people are skeptical. They've been revising down all of last year. Really think it's going to be any different this year? That said, if you look at where we are, look at where we're off the lows, and really, as wild as the action was, the first half of the day, like the huge spike on the jobs number, zoom it in a bit, and then just basically closing flattish. We're just sort of holding on to the line and holding on to those gains. So there's still a chance that we break out above 25.5 here on the NQ. NVIDIA is going to have to do something with that 192 to 193 area, which every single day that it holds there, eventually it's going to break. It just is what it is. And maybe the membership names will get us that jolt.
I didn't even hear the lunch.
That's what I ordered. Okay.
Wow, throwing bananas. That's interesting.
That was different. Thanks, Brandon.
Dr. Disrespect over there.
What the heck? Like what?
Oh, it's shakshuka. It's supposed to be shakshuka.
That's the good stuff, man.
Today. You better not be throwing shuka at us.
You can't just imagine you threw. Yeah, you can't throw the coffee. Whatever.
Like, oh, we'll see what he comes back with. He'll hold with a nice little coffee.
How are you gonna throw a banana?
I think he's mad because yesterday we didn't eat. I did yesterday, so I think he was.
Oh, is that why? Oh, okay.
I had it on the way home. Yeah, you had tilapia? No, we had chicken, didn't we? Yeah, I got chicken yesterday too. Neil liked the tilapia, so maybe it was okay.
It's only good when they do the teriyaki.
And that was the time. That made me really nasty.
But
mine was uncooked. Flavor.
Yeah,
There's never the flavor. I mean, teriyaki sauce or whatever. It's one of my daughter's favorite things. Is teriyaki right now, so she's all about that.
I love it.
But this morning we've already played a hockey game, so that should be exciting. We're excited. We're ready to go for that. This is a weekend of crazy. She's at the rink, I think it's like 7 or 8 times, and then Monday she's at a 3-on-3 all-day tournament. Monday because it's a holiday. She's at. She has a tournament starting tomorrow. Skates for teams on Sunday, and then another 3-on-3 fun tournament on. Snowboarding on Sunday for my son chess tonight as well. So it's a lot, it's just busy. You guys will all be blessed to have Obi in the seat.
Someone asked where Obi was, and we're like, well, we'll see you tomorrow.
He's just chilling. Yeah,
Always chilling.
Trying to figure G's, I guess. All right, man. Back over to the desk. It's been a minute, man. It's 8. I don't think we have too many economic numbers. Blasting through today.
It's like housing at 10 or something. Yeah. Home sales will come at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then the Fed speaks after the bell. So the only thing we have to. Oh, there's also.
We have initial jobless claims we have marked down.
Oh yeah, there is jobless claims.
That's what it is at 8:30.
I'm still adjusting to the fact that usually when we start at 8:30 number, you would get right off the bat. But we have to remember, we still have to wait to see their number. Probably not as big of a deal as the ADP yesterday, but it doesn't mean it can't. And there was one more thing. Oh yeah, there's like a 30-year bond auction at 1. If you happen to be looking at like treasuries or something, that's worth a watch. What's the question?
Westermeyer has one. Outlook good. So he has a question on here. Westermeyer saying, should Randy? Let's see if I can find it. It's on the super chat board here. I'll get it in 1 second. You got it. I got it, Andre. All right, so there we go. Should Randy be on the 8 ball? Yeah. Look good. So we want to have a poll. We can put a quick poll up.
That's easy.
8 ball 3-point. Randy, yay or nay? I mean, who is honestly? I mean, I like Westermeyer. I like the poll. Like, I think it should be. Well, the thing is too, we can't include Ramin or anything on it because that will skew it. Like, there needs to be everybody. I think we should put I think there should be one for Ramin. I think there should be one for Randy. I think that would be.
Then you have to choose between.
No. I'm saying we don't want to put both of them up. It'd just be Randy, but I also think involved in that as well. Someone said Ramin doesn't show up to work till noon every day. It's more like 11:15-ish. In charge of that. I in charge of that racket. All right. Oh, there he is, Randy. Hey, Randy, there was a question about should Randy be involved in the next 8 ball? There would be something about like Randy says buy oil, or Randy says, yeah. So exactly. So there, I think it's David Westermeyer, isn't it? Daniel. He's going to be creating a new 8 ball, and the poll is now up. Should Randy? Yes.
It's an obvious. This should be 74%. This should be 99%.
Okay, here. Yeah.
This being 100% is like how Bill Belichick didn't get into the Hall of Fame.
Cheated. Hey.
Would you, biscuits? Oh.
I thought it was shakshuka. I'll come get it. Don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, all right, so let's just say we were doing a stock picking competition, right? So everybody picks 3 stocks. Which 3 stocks would you pick for the one holding? You have to hold it for 1 year. Okay. I'm going to add you to the list.
We had some
getting Randy to the list. There you go.
And Rivian reports tonight, by the way.
Yeah, he's going to get back to us. He's going to do a little bit of research. We're going to add him to the list, and then we'll just put whatever the price of today. Because like he's picking today, and he doesn't. There's no with doing that. So if he wants oil now, I mean, I don't think that's a whole. Whatever. It doesn't really matter when you pick it. I mean, he can pick whatever. He doesn't know all of our picks, so. Yeah, I think that'd be fun to do that. Yeah, we'll let Obi last on that game there. So we'll see if he can overcome those shorts that he has there on Circle and Sidious and some of these crypto names are huge. Oh, but you can join us tonight at 4:00, and we'll be doing. I think it's Coin is the major one. There are a few other ones that we'll be talking about. Hopefully early. You guys can hit it and quit it, but this one has been definitely quitting it. And I mean, this has been a pretty disaster there for Coinbase. We'll see if they can talk about the Clarity Act, I'm sure, and where they're seeing their business over the next quarters, what their guide is, because can't be good, man. We saw Robinhood get really smacked yesterday on lower crypto volume. I can't imagine Coinbase. People are rushing to buy anything off exchange right now. And really, what's really hit Coinbase and everything like that is the emergence of the BMNRs of the world, the IBITs, the ETHAs, the BIDIs, all these things. These other options are giving to Bitcoin. But the problem is like yesterday, crypto, and I just used IBIT to do it. Like in the past, I would have funded my Coinbase account or your Kraken account or anything, right? Robinhood, whatever. You would fund those accounts or use funds from those accounts and buy the coin itself, which is great. I think that's better than buying IBIT. I think it's better to hold the coin. It's just that now there's all these options. And so like when I'm sell 350 and then I see Bitcoin down 50%, I go, oh, I'm gonna throw it from my Bob account or whatever and buy capital that I have sitting around, right? So Coinbase doesn't get that transaction volume. I bet has to hold coins and whoever they're using, but but that's like a one mass transaction. That custodial works out there with Coinbase, but I think that's a big effect here.
And then the other problem is that as they try to transition for other sources of revenue, you're now then competing with all of the other Robinhoods of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're just losing in every way. But it would be interesting to see what possible options action could be going on in Coin before or after earnings, and maybe some other interesting options plays with our good friend Joe.
Definitely, guys. All right. Once again, let's take a look into the world of derivatives, guys. The name we don't talk about too often, but some outstanding open interest at $180 mark. And I mean, these are a little bit more difficult to play just due to the fact that the contract itself doesn't much. But let's take a look at what we got going on here. So open interest at that 170 mark, sitting around 10,400, guys. And that's right, only 482 contracts opened and closed on yesterday's session. Once again, we're going to be lots of gamma on this side and somewhat of a call wall at that 170 mark. We're going to be expiring on February 20th. You can see that you almost have no delta. It's just a 4 spot there, and your at the money IV is relatively cool, a $4 spread, and they're not expensive whatsoever, around $16 and $12. Gamma exposure, relatively light as well too, guys. Moving forward, let's take a look at Apple. Going opposite the market yesterday, so I'm like, we're going to head over to that February 20th expiration cycle once again. But what was real open interest at that $290 mark? 46,800 contracts there and 80 contracts are opening closed. And you can see how relatively cheap these are. I mean, it's less than the ask and on the bid there. So not bad whatsoever. Delta exposure sitting around that 7 mark. You're relatively light, and your at-the-money IV is cool. And I like what Brent was talking about the other day as well. That when you have an increase in implied volatility, what does that typically mean when the VIX is increased? You're starting to see an increase in the expansion of the average true range, but that's typically leading to more of a downside. But I play this kind of in an opposite ways. When volatility starts to cool off, you can use that as somewhat a bullish gauge as well too. Why? Because there's less fear in the market. Absolutely not. But I like to use it in certain scenarios. There's a time and a place for everything. But yeah, at the money IV, using your Vega as an additional metric, bullish or bearish sentiment. All right, guys, moving forward, we're going to take a look at the small cap land here, the Russell IWM. Once again, we're going over to OPEX February 20th. Outstanding amount of open interest here, guys. 49,700 with open and closed contracts sitting around 14,500 at $60 mark. Your delta is always going to be negative. It's on the put side, guys, and $1.66 for those contracts and $1.61 on the bid and the ask. So we're going to be writing. You're going to be the bid. Okay. So delta sitting around that $28 metric. Sorry, 28 delta, and then your gamma exposure relatively cool, and then the at the money IV sitting around 2%. Now, did you get caught in that Liberty Village chaos this morning? Because Zoo getting out of here. Yeah, so it was a tough one, guys, but we'll be back momentarily. No, you were fortunate enough? Oh, man. Took me a half an hour to get LV this morning.
Joe, going there this morning, it was just chaos. I don't understand that.
It's madness.
5:30 in the morning, everyone's apparently driving early.
It bottlenecks, right? It's like one lane in, one lane out.
It's a mess, yeah. Anyway.
All right, early.
I think Brandon doesn't live in Liberty Village, but I guess he must have saw the action there. I don't know. What is it? Is that every day? I don't know. Is there somewhere there? It's a log. It must be all those that are being used right now. So that must be part of that.
Well, it's really important that when the snow is piled up and we have those dedicated bike lanes to hold all of the excess snow.
Yeah.
Feature like that way. Instead of having places for people to drive, it just ends up being this nice aesthetic, especially when the snow gets dirty and the snow's all brown. It wasn't awesome for IWM yesterday. We talked about the futures not doing much. Look at the ES. Hey, look at the NASDAQ. There was a dip, and then we're back to where we were. The Russell's back and actually up, and this is effectively where we were 24 hours ago. It's kind of ominous. But the drop in the Russell off of that failed breakout was a little bit bigger. You're going to see, we'll see what happens in 7 minutes. We do, of course, have a number. I don't think it'll be as big when we get initial jobless claims, but you never know. But I just feel like the volatility still be more so here than the NASDAQ and the ES. So just looking at small cappers in general, or just obviously the IWM is the index, this is where volatility will lie. And we'll have a look-see. In 7 minutes, maybe initial jobless claims is going to be a bit of a market mover. I'm not expecting the kind of fireworks yesterday. But also, even if we do, don't overreact to an 8:30 move. That's the other thing you got to think about. Time and time again, we have seen these moves over and over again. Probably not as harsh as we saw yesterday, but certainly you can be patient. Chasing those right at like 8:40, 8:45 before the open tends to be a little bit dicey, but we'll find out.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some news here. People putting in the chat. Here goes Sam Michael Robert. Nice move to the upside here. On not like an extreme amount of volume, anything like that. So interesting because it's picked up and it's starting to go. So what the story is maybe with SMR. I mean, we could check out other friends of the uranium name and game and see if Oklo is also going. So there might just be NNE. There might just be some sort of get up here in this space. There's no volume over here. So
ago.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like the volume is kind of like picking up now, but it's like it's not in amount that's like there was a news drop or anything right here. I wouldn't say Aldringler there, but maybe we are starting to get to that stage now, taking out 17. Interesting. again, like we know we've already this, and I take this from Jim Cramer, but the year of magical investing is over. That down and look to maybe pick something up at some decent if they're not making money. You know, like these stocks aren't making any money, but at some point these SMRs, small reactors, will be kicking around. So yeah, I can see someone taking a stab there, but SMR at a level. A lot of these names have been so beat up, right? It was same for me yesterday was IBM, and I'm still debating. Like, it's too bad I'm so, exposed to all these tech names, but IBM is I haven't bought in years and years, and this fell right in yesterday to a nice level as well, breaking through the 200 period down to 275. So I'm thinking that this is a look at. I still think there's more downside in a lot of these names, but IBM interesting getting hit a little bit. Time to start to look to add a little bit here. I think the amount of cash I have is like 1% or 2% or something like that. Like I'm almost fully invested. So it's just sort of little cherries on top of the positions I already have. I can't start like a new huge position or anything with the money that I have sidelined. Yeah, so far so good there. All the names keep going higher, man. GEV, Caterpillar, all these names, the industrial space. There's going to be some get up there in SMR.
It's always good to be allocated fully allocated when the market's at the highs. That's not a bad thing. So I'm going to read the story from here, but just to note, this was at 6:50 and over an hour and a half ago. And NuScale Power to collaborate with Ridge National Laboratory to utilize AI-enabled nuclear design framework for 12 scale power module. That story. Sometimes this happens. Have piece of news that comes out doing anything, and then all of a sudden maybe recirculated on some board somewhere, or a little bit on. There you go. Then all of a sudden you're up 9% when it wasn't moving on the story before. So I wouldn't I'm not sitting here saying you should punch along the stock, but it doesn't. It comes volumes in because there is a catalyst and it's at those levels. And watch out for 18 on the daily chart. 50 period moving average and a bunch of resistance at $18. 3 days in a row held underneath the 18 level. And a tiny bit of overhead resistance at about 18.15. It needs to maybe get through the quarter to fill in the next part of the gap. But there is an old story. Just be very cautious with it. I would like it better if caused right away, because that meant it would be a big deal. Like, I'm not sitting here knowing how big a deal that is fundamentally. You react to price action if you can. But does give us, again, smaller names and give you some runners, because it felt it was quiet this morning with regard to those.
Yes, sir, Neil. The one thing right now that's leading up the way is a ticker called CHOW, CHOW. Shout out to Chow. But yeah, the nice break of 73%, Neil. Still under that dollar, about 82 pennies. We've been trying sub $1 names a lot on the midday show, Brendo. The ones that have been making the best moves have been under that dollar, which is a bit of a tough trade, but when they're going, they're going.
Yeah.
And so that's been kind of as of late.
Got to go where the volume is as well. We'll keep an eye out here for anything else on SMR. Doesn't see anything obvious right now. No. China smartphone sales just crossed here, down 23%. In the last period. Apple to the downside a little bit here on that. Overall, again, 23%. Apple bucking the trend, a little bit of a positive print, it looks like. Again, 20 in January specific, hit by tough comparisons from last year. It was significantly higher. So Apple looking a little bit relatively weak here.
This week, I'm assuming it's because of that SEER line that we got yesterday. Multiple reports say that it's going to May, possibly, and even September, or a staggered rollout on dates. It's not a good look, but it's more about, execution rather than whether it's going to come out or not. It's not a good story to keep repeating here. But with respect to the China iPhone sales, Brendo, as you mentioned, down 23% year-over-year. Major manufacturers like Huawei and Xiaomi, they saw notable sales declines. That grew 8% year-over-year, pushing our market share 20%. That makes it basically in line for the #1 position, tied for the #1 position with Huawei. It really is more about the iPhone 17 demand. And Brendo, base model iPhone 17, they strategically so that it still qualifies for some of the subsidies by the narrative. But most notably, there have been no discounts on the 17. You couldn't say for the 16, which was actually heavily discounted.
Claims here, 227,000, little bit of the downside versus what happened last time. Two-third number, again, comes in 227,000. It is higher than the consensus for you was that. 1.86 million on the continuing claims versus 1.85 million, the consensus number for continuing claims there. So a little bit of employment data there at 8:30 as well. Just hearing, we're going to get to existing home sales coming up at 10 o'clock as well, but just hearing that number definitely higher than most consensus expected here. This has 1.85, it looks like, on the continuing claims. I'm seeing 1.8 in a couple of other places. So
I'm seeing 1.82 as well.
Yeah, it's definitely an uptick.
Yeah, this is not good, obviously, but it's conflicting with the jobs number coming in yesterday far higher than expected. But talking about this low high or low fire, you're going to get some prints at a little bit high, some prints at a little bit lower. It does keep pressure on the Fed, though, like as we keep seeing. That number looked fantastic yesterday, right? Because the estimates were so low. But when you comparison with how aggressively the GDP is growing, that 4.5 to 5, when you look at the jobs that are being added, historically, you would have printed easily over 2 jobs. You didn't get that yet, even though it was ahead of estimates. Historically speaking, it's great.
So people pointing to that exact fact later in the day, saying, it was way big, or way higher than expected, but comparatively speaking, over the past couple of years, a little bit of a downtick. So just keeping my eye on Apple here, guys. We're still kind of grinding down as well, but overall, the market didn't really react to jobless claims.
Not a huge reaction at all to that number, which I think was expected. The other thing to think about for the number is it was very highly concentrated in the healthcare sector, so wasn't like it was very broad either. There is some concern that it isn't really that reflective of that. So then you consider the reversions. That's pretty important to do. We did get a super chat, and from Hani Jafar, appreciate you and thank you for the super chat. No message, just a super chat to show appreciation. So thank you very much to and all of our viewers. We do appreciate all of you.
Oh shit, you brought coffee.
Drink?
Okay,
I
so
didn't even see the coffee. Really?
It is now time.
5 minutes.
I didn't even see it.
If anyone wants, thanks. We'll bring that over here. Thank you very much. All right, Randy, I've sent you the spreadsheet. We will be adding to the spreadsheet. The idea of this game is you pick names.
I did.
And I see your names. You qualify, so that's good. And every once in a while, right now, there's only 2 of the 13 of us up on our picks so far this year. So the bar is low right now, but I knew that definitely these would be your picks. The other ones are interesting.
Now we know one of
them. And let's get the announcement. He has entered the yearly stock picking competition.
In the house.
Do the
In the
one at a
house.
time. Everybody. One at a time, slowly.
So the first one is OM.
There we go.
No
there.
No chance, but hey, great fundamentals. Oils.
There.
Come on,
Joe.
Oh, get out of here.
hold them later.
You guys have been hearing XOM from Randy for a while now.
Come on,
This
my
breakout
guy.
is
They have
legit.
lots of cash, lots of good fundamentals. Everybody needs oil still. Hey, it's my play. That's my number one.
nothing wrong.
Nvidia's a no-brainer for me.
There we go.
AI has taken over our world and will continue to do so from now on. And Nvidia's got the recipe. So as long as they can keep up, it's a cash. I don't see a horizon for Nvidia. I just don't. The last one, and Neil said that maybe it's interesting, is Volkswagen.
We talked about that. It was like
Yep.
a month ago, maybe.
Volkswagen's on a great trajectory.
Oh no, Joe. Joe is not liking these picks.
I don't care about whether he likes them or not. They are a global car company. Fundamentals. I
I have the chart up here.
And there's been some dips and some bumps in the road, but like there's lots of horizon here. So I just three, and I can for hours why these three, but those are my picks, boys.
No, you can go for a couple hours, and we have nothing to do around here.
That's
you
right.
just keep going. But I like those picks, man. I mean, I knew in the car space, obviously in the energy space, and Nvidia is an interesting pick as well. It's been going sideways for a while, so I think it's about to break out. So I've been talking about. I'm here today. It was
long Nvidia.
Energy names, I mean, that's just one of those. They've been absolute rocket ship.
Data center play now, so they're going to help feed
This is
the AI
point.
game. Exactly.
It's going to be only it's going to be NNE. It's going to be these additional power sources all matter too, because it's also a strain on all the grids. So it's all matter. This is why like G Vernova is not. It's not just about whether you have like nuclear in the future. At the end of the day, and that's one of those things that people think it's bright and shiny instead of just looking what's right out there in front of you.
Yep.
That's why stocks like Caterpillar and XOM are fantastic, because they're right in front of your face, and all of this spend is going to them.
Yep. I'm with you.
Love the pick.
the only pick in the end that anybody made, maybe potentially there. We had IREN, I guess.
Technically, IREN.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, for more of a pure play.
Yeah, no,
There, I should have tell you. That's something that I really like. So, okay, there it is, man. Randy has now entered into that, and he'll get the prices as of open today. I mean, that's probably the most fair thing to do. Like the VOW3 play here, Volkswagen. So we'll have to wait what winds up happening with. I thought it was V3 actually.
It is 3.
It is 3. It is VOW. Okay.
There's another one?
Yeah, it was actually working as well. So I don't know. Anyways, same prices and everything. Anyways, so there, Volkswagen for Randy. I was a little surprised that there was no Rivian on there. That's okay. Going with the more solid pick than Volkswagen. So yeah, should be a little. That portfolio is probably the least amount of, obviously, I would think, out of our portfolios, depending on what you think about Nvidia, I guess. Okay, what's going on over there, Joe? What you got for us?
Seeing what Randy's out to, man. Story for me at the end of it. That's all right, guys. Let's take a look at some of the analyst action. We're going to start some things off with some downgrades. All right, we're going to start with Humana, getting down about 0.1% from an outperform to a sector perform with a price target of RBC Capital. Being that downgrade here, guys. Coinbase, Brenda was talking about this earlier this week, from a buy to a neutral. $120 price target there. You're down 1/5%. COIN is that ticker, guys. Now, Rigetti Computing also getting the down, going from a buy to a hold by TD Cowen. You're down 2% here this morning, and then also going from an outperform to a neutral by Daiwa Securities of $27. Now, for the upgrades, guys, Novo Nordisk going to a hold by Jeff. You're up about 1/3%. And then Oscar Health, we were short that. Getting the upgrade today, you're up 3.8% here. Raymond James giving them the nod and a price $10. And then we have a race, guys, going from a sell to a neutral. You're up 1.7%. Citigroup giving them that upgrade, guys. And then Shopify, Canada is right, hold to a buy. 1.8% here in the pre-market with a price target of $100 by TD Cowen. Let's go Team Canada. I'm sure we should clean the board today.
Like that shout out, Canada. And hopefully, well, we're good at hockey, but when it comes to these, we only get usually one at a time. We get like one company that usually is strong, and yesterday was not the best day for Shopify. Good news, bouncing cleanly off of support. So you can't really be upset when you have, after earnings, like established level like this 110, bounces so incredibly clean. But this is exactly the reaction that you don't want to see. Regardless of quarter is, it's one thing to fill in the gap, you gap up on earnings. It's another thing to plow right through the prior close and anything else, like it absolutely didn't matter. It's better if we actually had gotten back, or we can get back to 128 on Shopify. Otherwise, this stock, when you give the 3-day rule, it's just the 10 levels that you haven't played. It showed today, showed it to you last week, and obviously gets a little bit hairy for shop loses to 110. At that point, if we lose after earnings, all bets are off. It's psychological, but you don't really have much in the way so you get into like the mid-7. Should be on watch. If it does, it would have to drop 10% to get down there for support level. I can't imagine what would cost to do so. The market's better, but you got to throw that one as it showed you the support.
All right, so for me, I have it here as, and I'm just looking for one more to add. I got 3 already. Yeah, I think Oscar on this upgrade. I mean, it's now had, if you're looking at the board, right, a couple good days. You had the ACA announcement, obviously Trump RX, and attacks on UNH and whatnot over the last couple days. Oscar now off, that was okay. Four straight up, and now today we get an upgrade. For me on Oscar, I'm going to write down 1375. Right down here, have a look. It may be a 200 play, which is 1380. I'm not going to milk here. So 1375, we'll just wait for it. And I don't know exactly the price this is going to get into. Even doing that much volume here at all here in the primo. I like Oscar there. If it falls back into 1375 or so, I think we could. Apparently, AMD right now is on one as well, which is not going to help my NVIDIA long because we don't need these markets to start going. I know, not really. I heard in my ear AMD was making not huge there. We'll look at some AMD today as well. I'm more rather than AMD today, but this is what their chart sort of looks like on the daily, and we're still stuck. For AMD, we got to get above this 220 or down to 200 before I really start to look at it. So maybe if we 220, we can have a quick little look at an AMD, probably or for advanced micro devices. If there's any major name for me today, Google's been really heading southbound for the last couple of days, and I'm not really sure what the reasoning here for this sort of Google drop has been right there. So I pegged this 280 as area of interest for myself because I'm actually always, and I know, we say a lot of things. The thing that I'm going to remember is, and Joe mentioned sort of a tech ETF kind of play there with Google, and I like that talk. I am probably too diverse. So I was debating selling some of these tech names and maybe just piling it into Google. I mean, but the problem with Google is it was not the greatest down here at 140, 150 because we fell off of highs there, right? We were at 210.50. So Google does have the ability to make these kind of moves. Now, obviously, we did have some situations happening there, but it was already sort of started at the beginning of last year, 2025. Beginning of this year, kind of same kind of way there, although we did have a great report from them. Really do like the one mega name that for me on dip buys is a no-brainer where I can see why we would look to buy some Google there within everything, right? Like hands in that cookie tech jar right there. So I do like some Google. Anything else here, but we're gonna work on one more name on the list and get that going. So yeah, we know I did take an SMR long on the note here, so we'll talk about those levels. That's coming up as well. And then we got the new an IPO today, APC, that's ARCO. That's going to be hitting pricing near the low end. It was into $20. It's priced at 18. We'll see when this thing through later on. And it's in the right space, man. We talked about what XLE's been doing. They're up 18% already. So we'll see if AC gets going today. Probably not something that I'll take right off to look at. If it continues to work, we can always miss the opening print and then see if it holds and then start to punch long after that if it's going to work out in the oil. All right, that's a lot of talk over here. Let's go back over the desk and what the boys are looking at.
Just keeping an eye on nuclear stocks right now. Not really doing anything as far as the group is concerned outside of this applied materials story this morning. $252 million settlement for a China suit. Then it doesn't feel like it has really. It was only, I guess, in the summer of last year that about this, but a little bit of a pop here this morning.
It is. So here's what happened. The Department of Commerce, Bureau of Industry and Security, the BIS, they were alleging that export controls that were tied to China by Applied Materials between 2020 and 2022, $252.5 million to resolve that. While the DOJ and the SEC will conduct investigations to that 2022 mishap. Look, the issue stemmed from what the misunderstanding rather than malfeasance on their part about how, the export regulation applied to certain transactions. Legal uncertainty, though, removed. Management now can focus on AI demand and long-term roadmap. They ended up last year's in October 26, $1 billion in cash. So that 250 isn't really. You're still going to have money to be able to maneuver.
And if you go out to a daily chart, I'm glad you mentioned that time. If you look at this thing anyway, we broke out of that long channel beginning of 2024, and it's been straight side ever since. So trying to climb back right now after a little bit of a gap down. We are heading into AMAC guys one to maybe watch today. Not a lot of them.
Not a ton. We get the report after the bell. I got the first to tell you, I think LAM and ASML probably better than AMAT, but there's nothing wrong with AMAT. You just sort of pick the horses that you like base, and machines that make the chips are going to matter. This is one of these stocks where you ever. Here, you know what? Let's go to a much higher time frame. Weekly chart on XOM. As Randy with his pick. I'm always perusing. I know. Anytime you get something like this on it, and we talk about this with like pretty looking charts and not ugly ones. On a long enough and a monthly time, just look at the level of respect for the 50 period on the monthly, and every time it's there. So this is why, like, when an important stock gets to a level like this, it gets in my portfolio and dip buying, this is where you pull the trigger on. And so people will say, well, I don't know where to buy, it's falling. Well, if it has a history and a higher time frame of bouncing of certain levels, then, zoom out. And obviously you can't predict how far it's going to go. But I think this is a good name. Again, we'll see. The fine doesn't mean have anything. I think a lot of times you use bad news to buy dips on these. If you like them, or as I said in ASML, it ultimately matter. I don't think this is gonna. There's no day. They're reporting today, so obviously, like, there's nothing in terms of a catalyst that's gonna cause it to. I would suspect there's gonna be a little bit of good movement in tomorrow's action, but it's just another example of kind of an under the radar company. And when you find those type patterns on a weekly or a monthly chart, wheelhouse, and you go lock it and you dip by it. Like, I think, what was the one that we're using yesterday? It might have actually been in IBM. I think about it. I think it was. Maybe it was. No, IBM. I think it was somebody else. Either way, it just comes down to something that works. IBM would be on the weekly chart. It's respecting the 50. So if you like a stock and you find it's showing you where the buy support is on something like an IBM, it happens to. And when you find bounces off those levels, instead of just, like, if you're going to buy the dip anyways, you might as well look at the pattern that's on the particular stock that you happen to be watching. And I'm not going to outsmart the market. Try to dip buy work before if I like the company, just hold it forever.
All right. Earnings report tonight. Join us with Coinbase. Bitcoin right now starting to go. It's at 68,000 a little bit here. So I was just looking at general. That's starting to go back up to the upside. And we are going to be hitting right now the pre-market sort of highs in BTC. So this could be definitely a break. I was just making some last notes here. Trying to break through this $39 area. So we'll have to see what the it's dipped in a little bit there. Bought some Bitcoin. If it's trying to base out a little bit, just trying to nibble in. I mean, if I think that Bitcoin's a story, you might as well get some at these levels. It's just money. But we'll go long on IBT here with Bitcoin. And, look to buy some dips potentially today in the space of Coinbase earnings, and Robinhood continues to get beat up just a little. Looks like bad move down. A couple tried to bounce, then got hit back in. now. So we'll see if Robinhood can get gone. A great yesterday right off the open, right? It was $79, crushed into 75. Found a bit in and around 75. So for me on Robinhood, if we can get, 76.50, something at around here, could be worth something. Let's wait to see what it brings for some of these names, including Robinhood, SoFi, Webull, and the rest of them. Charles Schwab, SCH. So that's a name that, if we're going to talk about, and just the total, funds under management and all that metrics, Charles Schwab would be the one to look at. And had a whoopsie moment is AI hitting the space again, robo-advisors, and again, the lack of trade volumes going a little bit to the different options that are available. So you might have a Schwab account, you might also have a Robinhood account, and SoFi and a Webull, or hopefully not that many. You have a few different accounts going through there, and then plus there's still the credit of the 10% cap. So anyways, all right, that's look at some different 50 already. We have the watch list that we got to go through. Sharice morning packed. Again, here today, we've already had the option talk here as well. No early morning, yes.
The only thing we haven't looked at morning, and Omen in the chat for asking at Crocs short and putting them when you did so. So I can't tell you, Crocs isn't on my, but if you are in the chat, first of all, welcome and thank. If you're not, well, you can't join the conversation. You can't put a symbol in by typing $. I just saw someone put Tesla, so I'm not going to do Tesla. Let's go with, I don't know, Amazon. Amazon could be the longest losing streak. Maybe 5 or 6 years? I think 6 years for them. But look, you'll start to see them in there. Fast SMR, obviously that makes sense. BBD, SNDK. Right now, SMR is top of the list. Since news dropped in right in the middle, going through some early news stories and a bit of a rundown early. NVIDIA, that makes me FSOI 2% of the upside. Insane. We know all about the memory chip, Micron, WDC, SNM is in there as well. Tesla is the usual suspect. Robinhood's in play. I like that one today. Netflix. I feel like whether Netflix is moving or not seems to make its way on the list. A lot of interest around that deal. It hasn't really done much $80 level in a while. Of course, we got App. There's Randy's XOM as well. NBIS, we've seen a little bit. They're not really moving all that much today. It was a bit of a size. I shouldn't. Okay, it's moved around right back to where we were. Yeah, I kind of expected maybe you'd see more fireworks out of Nebius. Only 1% here. Didn't play, but again, if you're trading exactly where you were before, it'd be some very good volume to be able to give you some opportunity. Yes, lots to go over. Just $ and your symbol, and hit that subscribe so you are in the chat engaged. Lovely conversation, ask questions, follow along, a few jokes or two. I see people are putting them in there. Caterpillar gets in there. And a couple of stories, because if I see something I don't recognize, I assume it's probably up you, Sally. Alex is Sharif. I'm assuming it's something that might be up your alley. No. It's the volume's there, but the chart is fantastic. That's swing than an actual day trade.
It's going to be. It's a little. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just seeing a note here, guys, on Meta. Apparently have officially broken ground on their $10 billion data center campus in Indiana. This is the single largest data center investment to date, for a slight uptick when that popped in front of me here for Meta. This one, of course, a couple of days was about saying that he's now involved, whatever that means, with Meta.
He took a position there, and it filled the gap after earnings. Brendo popped up to about 750, comes back bottom neckline. We can look at the chart over here. I exited my Meta position. There's ability. So what's happening right now is there's trials all over the United States. One that's going on right now about of Instagram and Facebook, especially for teens. There are thousands of lawsuits around this specific issue. So how this one goes set the tone for all those ones. So I feel there's too much overhang for me to kind of contingent liability until it's decided.
Yeah.
I get their advertising business is stellar. They're still number 2 in the game. There's no argument whatsoever. I just didn't like that part of it.
And he specifically too, he pointed to, where it's trading right now. It's affecting, very, very cheaply. So we'll see. I mean, still kind of chopping around, guys, in a range, most part here for Meta to back to the upside on that.
Relatively cheaply, I would use as opposed to very, very cheaply. I thought it had broken 580 level. I think that's when you start to get to, like super like value areas for sure. But this more on it. Just watch the 50 period. It wasn't the thing about any kind of a moving average or any kind of about them when the stock actually respects it. Meta has had almost no respect the 50 period. Like there was respect on the way up to the high, it was broken. It started to be the opposite, and we started holding on. Hey, we're holding the 50 period. Didn't matter. We broke away. Oh, it's trying to matter. That's the first place to look for this week, is that 660 area to try to hold support. It'll be a moving target because the 50 SPCE, it's not going to move crazy around a bit. However, that holds support, you feel a little bit better, but they're in a breakout. You get so many things from last week. When crypto made that 60,000 move, and you get that wipeout bottom, or Bitcoin, I should say, made that 60,000 move, wipeout bottom. Stocks that were able to break out of that little rounded bottom, those are the ones that you feel a little bit more bullish about. And when they haven't, you're sort of thinking, hey, find your support level, you're still good, down, have not made that next push. So Meta falls into that category, and I feel as if it's not even necessarily the Mag 7 names where you find that kind of a push through in strength. So exciting for me on Meta. It's great to see Ackman involved in there. If you own something, you're not going to add that somebody with a bunch of money also likes it too. It doesn't necessarily move the needle for me to do anything with it. Like, I'm not buying more here. I'm not selling here. A quarter on Meta, because there's other places going. Like it's not maybe the Mag 7's time yet.
Yeah, in December, I said that I don't think this year is the year for any of sevens. It hasn't been a year for a long time. I mean, these names have been dead, absolutely dead money now. This is like almost exactly the same price. This is where we were last year at this time. This is January 30th. I mean, even if you go down, I'll buy things at the very bottom. But if you just look back and you say, where's my money been? It's been basically wasted in here in Meta. But I think there's a catch-up trade to be had a little. With PEs under 30 right now for Meta, I think you get this yesterday. I think you get the whole quarter for free right now. So I think you get 740 before you make a move lower there. I understand what Sharif's talking about. There obviously is risk in every name that we wind up buying in this market, it seems like. It's not known to avoiding that. So we'll have to wait to see how it's made. But for me, I think it gets to 740 before it gets to 600. If we're going to play sort of a would you rather, or where do you think you're going, upside or down, the both equal sort of right now. I think we do have a little bit of an upside drift happening there. If that quarter means anything, if it continues to go down, if you come down to 600, I think you actually do, and then get into something where someone's like a Microsoft situation where it's like one of this. But obviously, Meta, not really this kind of a software company as those other names that are in the IGV. This is just a name that I like. A lot of the Meta glasses, I don't think that they're like a huge to anything here, but I am a little more the talk about limiting social media screen time and the apps and who can access them and whatnot. So I do think that Meta does have a little ways to go here, and the ads that you see on Reels and Instagram and all that is just there's getting some. That it can be a little bit daunting sometimes. So I can see selling. Me, no, I am a supporter of Meta. I like Meta and Google the best out of the sort of the mega caps, with Tesla being maybe one long term, like 5+ years. I think Meta can continue to work here. 2 weeks differently right now, so I'm going to be not a meta, but not a sell. We'll never try to hopefully never really sell unless we get to that 740 level again. So, yeah, man, I like the stock. I think it's a better situation than Microsoft. All right,
let's get right into everything we need to know here this morning. Look at the market and jump into.
We basically closed at the same price that we opened yesterday, guys. To a little bit lower, 692, almost 692 on the dot. So we come back, we hold that 692 level. We don't end up taking out 695, and I'm talking about. Looks like we got to it very briefly on that 4-hour candle, and then drop. Use the technical resistance and support. We're saying the closing price 692. Looking at 697.5, 697 right now resistance.
All right, if you haven't done so yet, grab this. Absolutely comes right to your inbox every single morning. Has everything that, as I mentioned, is moving around in the pre. Why on it? All you need is your email address. Link below in the description if you want to pick that up. Any of these, big day yesterday for Micron, but they're all back to the upside. The memory stock specifically. Back to the upside nicely here today.
Yeah, very move here from Sandex, Brendo, to start them up my notes. Yeah, there we go. So industry analysts have been talking about for a while. They're flagging on clean room space shortages, which is limiting the ability to add new NAND equipment. So until those online, suppliers may need to optimize or that clean room capacity. Point is, tight supply reinforces the back here across all memory categories. The commentary suggesting that continue into next year. Separately, Kioxia, I think that's how it reported, SSD storage revenue up 7.8%. Smart device sales surged 59.1%. Well, why does this matter to SanDisk? Well, it's heavily relying on them for manufacturers, and they're up 6.2% after already a 10.7 move yesterday, but it had been weak over the last few days, been giving back a bit, but still much closer to the highs.
I mean, we're getting back towards the highs here. Micron and SNDK, huge run up. This thing's been Micron is pretty choppy for a couple of weeks now, though. So the range, but showing a little bit of promise, guys. What do we do here with these?
Well, they're definitely showing promise. Obviously, we were literally just talking those low stocks that held on and they're breaking out. So SNDK actually ends up being one of those. It's really diddling in the middle here. Top, you've got 610 support, and we're chilling out. We were almost at 640, so your support is at the prior risk. It looks like on SNDK, so it's a little too much. Then it said you feel like it's making a run to that 700, with the market looking somewhat good today. Like I'm looking at some defined levels and just what works. So like I have Intel on my list, port level, the 47 that we bounced off yesterday, and the 50 fail breakout. That's what I know. But if you are a trader and trying to pick at least between the two, like the argument I would make is Micron looking percentage-wise, it's a bit deceiving because it's not going to move as much. It is actually pushed further away off of that prior resistance than SNDK is. And if it dips, like you have a more recent level, this 415 back into without having to wait for SNDK to get much lower. So this one feels better between the two, but I'm going to be, in terms of trend, I have NVIDIA and Intel on the list. Intel still, because every single time it comes into that 50 and get there yesterday, I think it's a fail until proven otherwise for that 47 bounce. That's like a pass as opposed to looking at the memory names, which are still so strong. Like, what you could want there to be a turn on those, it just might have just got the best one.
Yeah, I was going to say Micron. I mean, a lot of people are talking about Micron. So we can have a quick look. I mean, when we're hearing things like tight supply moving through 2026. So tight, well, when you and supply is tight in a space that is area, then yeah, man, Micron is the name you're looking at here today. Up another 4%, looking to take out highs. I believe it does do that. I mean, what else can they possibly say? I mean, a lot of demand coming 4:30 break long, and I really think that that's a great opportunity to get going here. Should have on the note today. Breakouts have been tough because the market's these huge swings. Like yesterday, we rocketed to the upside and then basically pretty decently negative, back up in the midday. So, I mean, to break them, I think you can have some decent momentum to it. But if you do break, remember, I've been trading this name a couple times. We top ticked it the other day and got stopped out. I think it was something like that, where we literally had this, 380. We had this 380 short rate that it sort of settled down. I don't know, was it? No, it was right here. It was actually, because I was going to say it wasn't at noon. It was, and then we got stopped out. Rate tick sort of happened around 10 o'clock. So, this is the kind of move you can see on a micron where you fall from 380 down to 60, and then, in 25 minutes, 383 again. So let's see if it does dip down 420. Yeah, okay, wow, Neville. That could wind up hitting, or that break right there. So micron's a tough trade right now in the middle. Let's see the action right off the open, man. Like a 4 dip. It's a long, but it's either a 420 or if you really can't, and it's really starting to go. We still have those imbalances at 925. That could take it, I guess, 430 break. People are going to be scrambling. Like if you went short, you talked Obi trying to grab the short in this area. Like if other traders are trying to do the same thing, they're going to get smoked. Starts to go back up to the upside, which it's doing right now today. So if you went short, yes, on this big sort of middle finger there to the shorts, then you're today again. So I do think there's expansion possibilities today for MU. So here we go. I'm going upside for Micron today. I like the long.
Go to Cisco here, getting cracked this morning. A little bit of an up, right back to $80 right now, but was the gross margins coming in a little bit light? Cisco, we're going to point directly at the fact that, hey, memory is very expensive and we can't get any, so it's a
Everybody's
problem.
complaining. Apple, everybody's complaining about that. It's eating into margins, super expensive. Guys, let's talk P102 expected on revenue of 15.35, 15.12, and up 10% year over year. Not a bad look here for Cisco. Net income, $3 billion versus the 2.4 in last year. In their networking revenue, up 21%, well ahead of the expectation. The guide was pretty good as well. $1.02 to $1.04 EPS on revenue of 15.4 to 15.6. Here by the street was a D, so that's the midpoint on 15.1. But while revenue guidance slightly tops expectations, EPS guidance was in line. But quite frankly, I bring up into the earnings print. If you don't beat market, there's going to be some profit taking, and that's what we're right now. They also reported $2.1 million in AI orders. They're tying those orders to the hyperscalers. Announced participation, Brando, in the Saudi infrastructure project alongside AMD to diversify revenue.
Over December highs here, $80 coming into play again this morning. It could be worse, really.
Yeah, I think it could be worse, but, this is not the environment. Valid excuse. Look, up and cost going higher is going to margins, and that's going to make the guidance not so fantastic and leads us into a dip zone here for Cisco. It doesn't seem to have like how many times have we actually seen like a heavy back in this that like one heartbeat? Like you have this was gaps, that doesn't count, and every time it's off the top, it's been a multi-day kind of event. You don't have many of those off of like an earnings rip, so I don't think it has. Like it doesn't have a huge pattern of doing this at all. Applying to usually wait for the 50 period actually tested down here. It hasn't respected it. That maybe even a test underneath it would make a little bit of sense. It's in a bit of an out, or it's not down 10%. It's not down enough that I'm thinking, okay, come on, they're being that's ridiculous. Let's look for the dip buy on it. Where I'd be thinking that, like if it was 70s or so. And there obviously isn't. There's probably a lot of other names good for some longs today. So it's just going to pass for me. But if we got down another 5-ish% or so, then it gets a little for support dip buy. Because as you said, like everyone's been the same thing, and those that have been hit on earth have gotten bought back when they've had these margin concerns. This is what it is with Cisco. It's not terribly exciting. It could be worse, and if it gets worse, I think it's about 75 to 78 area. That's kind of the target window that I would look for a dip buy.
I'm not sure. I had this discussion with Sri Day when he said Cisco wasn't back time high.
It is.
Yeah, much through all-time highs right here. So I know Sharif was looking at something. I'm not sure. Maybe it was, but there was something where there was a 146 or something that he had indicated. But what about all that is like this just coming back. Yeah, because Obi has a chart. Oh. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, this is 2000 right here too. This is what the difference is there. But he has a chart that he talks about. I forget what it is. It's you can still trading view. I forget what the difference is there. But anyways, because I remember when we had Brian on, he was talking about Cisco breaking its highs, and so I knew that had happened right there, $7. Okay, so right into there. I'm trying to see, but you could actually ask. Oh, you must have there as well on your chart, Sharif, but I figured out. But right into there, $7. Like, I just think that a fall back into 8 is something that could be watched out for. The thing about Cisco is it still is like that network stock, security, and right now I was going on my bigger chart. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, Cisco, so a nice move back down right into this $80 right there. So I think that there's some opportunities. I always, when I think of Cisco, like I was just saying, kind of things like that, networking, security, all this, and I know some of that has become a little equipment build outs as well, and it's not my specialty. Maybe I should get Randy over here. But if I'm gonna go any that's security related, I really like CrowdStrike, and this name has gotten beat up the year to date, but I don't think this is, and I've said get the cyber ETF for Palo Alto or Zscaler, but it's just either is going to be disrupted too much by AI, and I know that might be like what billion-dollar company is going to trust like somebody that's coding their own cybersecurity software. Like I back to the sort of ones, and that's why I say with PanW you can get them all with SIBR, and just another one of those. This is a cybersecurity ETF, liquid one. So I think that this is a grab. If you think Cisco is overdone, grab Cisco, but a space cybersecurity in this time. So let's get going on that one, especially if China gets ramped up a little bit. Those tensions continue to increase. I could see, there's all these attacks and whatnot that keep on occurring and getting blocked. So I like cybersecurity in this space, and I can see that Cisco getting well as these other names. So there's a little bit of push and pull in this, but I like CI. I'm actually going to try to find out what weightings are in this space, because CIBR is definitely something to be looked at moving forward. Any kind of diversification in this. All right, let's go find out about AppLovin.
Today.
Yeah, for AAPL this morning to key levels, we're trying anyways off this 420 level, which is that key level on the higher time frame. I mean, there's a couple of question marks here. Free cash, one of those, it looks like some report.
It was a good report, Brendo, but it's yes, 324 beating the consensus 295. That's a big beat there on revenue. And 2/3 billion, that beats a 1.61 and rises 60 year over year on that top line number. Guided Q1 revenue above Eshes. Despite that headline beat, though, shares were down about, and I wrote this article, signaling the high expectations baked into the stock. Revenue though slowed a little bit, 50 year over year. So that, shows some deceleration with this name has been the of controversies that we continually start with the first one here. A short, I think, was Muddy Waters, or this other one, I think, Fuzzy Python, accused them of violating Apple and Google's App Store policy. Watch report accused them of ties, national criminal syndicates, Brendo, and the SEC invest collection practices. So they've been plagued with these.
Yeah. I mean, this gap here, going back to the beginning of the week, was a little bit of an issue going into the weekend, guys. So we're trying to hold right now, but definitely an area where we could get a bounce.
It's an area where you could bounce, but it's a must. Right now with app is the best way to think about it. So I don't think this is a catch a falling knife, and it's also not even at, if you think it's not even at like some kind of great short level, unless it's a 410 here. Like it's at a theoretical. So if you like the long place to maybe take a shot at it and run a 4 long, then it's like, well, bugger off unless it breaks, I suppose, would be the way to look at it. So this is a pass for me. Just way too much noise on here. This market is giving you plenty of opportunity. If you want to buy something lost like 60 or 70% from the highs, you have opportunities out there. You don't have to necessarily pick on something like that. So this is a pass. This is a stay away and stabilize, or maybe you start getting positive headlines out of them. But I would, if you're looking for the long, like, well, if you lose that today, you're in some serious trouble. It would be SSR, I suppose. Maybe that gives you something to bounce, but not me.
Beat on the top and the bottom and a forward guy than expected. So I'm not even getting crushed the way it is. But when you're a software name and it's current locked, obviously their inclusion into the S&P 500. And there will be dip buyers because it's an S&P 500 name, but where will those dips? Talking about software, you look at EV, you're looking at things like Salesforce. Here's the IGV sector ETF was down another 2% yesterday. So this is going to just continue to be beat until it stabilizes a little bit. And tons of outflows. If you are a tech name, with software, you're going to be having a little bit of a right now. So for me, I would rather look at it, a name like Salesforce or something for a potential bounce back. Some of these companies, I think the sale of some of these is a little overdone in my. I don't know, but I don't think people are. It takes a lot of work just to all of a sudden change over. As far as I know, listening to some CTOs and things like that. You're not just going to all of a sudden build something randomly that it works and with your current platform the same way. Like you've already spent billions and billions of dollars on sales, agent force, and all of that. I thought easier to integrate, an agent bot or something like that into your suite rather than completely, take away everything you've built. Just be a little bit of money moving forward. And that little bit of money is a lot of money about that, but it also takes time and effort and efficiencies to be able to match what kind of offering CRM has. Those of you that are watching that probably use Salesforce. I don't use it, so I'm not sure exactly the benefits of that versus other softwares that are similarly used. For me, I think it's an overblown exaggeration of down on software. App is getting drawn in to all of that. I mean, the core, I just reviewed the numbers morning watch list. Obviously, some of the points the boys are bringing up are about, where the direction of this company is. They did guide forward higher, so, word for what it means. And maybe that bounce is something that you're looking at. So maybe around a 410 area, that gets you down that SR, and then you could see no more selling off the bid, therefore actionable trades, which should create a little bit of a bump. Today, we got a report from Lyft either, and that was pretty much down almost day. So I could see Lyft a little bit of rebound today. Well, not really, but there's the move off the jump as we, get that. That's what I'm talking about with down 13 or 14% there move, and then there's the sell of the day. So if APP winds up, getting going a little bit early. The story is the short, so 30 possible short rate. Okay, let's go back over we're not running out of time. We got Crocs, FSLY, and then these picks for the year.
$100 right in the face, CROX, which is, if you zoom the chart right here, a bit of a ledge from this consolidation, if you basically 2020 fund. the entire year, one side or the other of ours. So all at one shot here this morning.
My dad can favorite shoe, wide fit Skechers.
Oh, okay.
Man syndrome. Shout out to my old man. For EPS kind versus a 191 expected on rev of 958 million. So an easy top and bottom line beat there. Get really ability and forward guidance, more on that in a second. What really stood out to me though is their focus on direct, kind of the opposite that we've been hearing about Nike. Remember, they're kind of go their DTC channels, back on that three-wall setup with wholesalers or with Crocs. Their wholesale 15.5%, while their direct revenue increase. Channel shift continues to face that higher margin direct to consumer business, right? Now here's the deal. Here's the guide. This really was good. Full year 20 guide, $12.88 up to $3.35. Whatever range ahead of the $11.92 by the street. However, revenue is going to either add or slightly decline. The street was looking on profitability as opposed to that top line number.
Over, that's a weekly chart. It seems to think it's priced. We're up here. Priced pretty well now, guys, in the middle of this range, and since this is 2023, if you go back far enough.
Yeah, like it's not an incredible name. Look, I still have the problem is tired my first pair like last year, like the ones I wear in the house, which I'll probably wear forever. Again, I have an outdoor pair which I got like 10 outdoors gardening or whatnot. A lifelong. Hey, I love my Crocs kind of person. I had 3 pairs in however long they've been around. So like, the turnaround, if we're talking about, let's just focus on what might happen today. And I don't think we necessarily get to these levels, but that's why I didn't put it on the note, because I kind of an outside chance. But you have the resistance spot here prior at about 91 to 92. It's like a triple top. It's also going to be the 200 period moving average. So with extremely light volume relative to some of the other things you might consider to be in play, the area that needs to hold. There was a little bit of a dip in the pre-market level, but on such low volume, I almost don't count that as it holding a dip, because there was no actively trading it. So at the open, I think we get a better sense whether it's holding on to that line. That'll give you a chance to look for some longs and Crocs. Otherwise, plenty, like for myself, I already said, like Intel, Nvidia, BMNR back in play for me again. And then I'm looking at actually good. Sometimes you give something a day after earnings, 2 days after earnings, and you'll like the day 2 or day 3. I have a feeling Crocs could end up in that bucket.
Or from VFC, VF Corp, UGGs, and all that, as they, they had a nice move higher. So it could have stories as well. So, there's a nice move. As we tell, it's pretty strong. There seems to be people that, things. Welcome to my household. It seems like stop. But there it is, straight up to $21. So yeah, healthy spots right there. I agree. I still have some pretty old pairs of Crocs as well. I do like the stock, but wasn't there news? What is it, Birkenstock? I think we talked about that yesterday. As Birkenstock, especially if you're talking big markets, going to be North America. This kind of weather doesn't make a lot of people, open-toed sandal that. So, Birkenstock getting hit to the bottom side of this as well. Look for a bottom break here, as we don't even think about Birkenstocks around these areas yet. $3 break into 36. This can probably get lower, broken, keep on making lower highs. So, as we Birkenstock to the short side. And awesome opportunity to actually get through. And this is what I mean. There's so many stocks, right? Like I don't even remember the last time we talked about, into that move there from yesterday. Gave us that story to see what Birkenstock does here, looking like it wants to break. This is the downside. And I guess long VFC and Crocs, as we get ready for, spring and summer, maybe Birkenstock gets going. But I like the short there yesterday.
It was kind of funny. I ran over to this last night, just on a whim, and as the February Canadian guy was on. I mean, it wasn't that cold here yesterday.
Yeah,
Like, come on, it's so February, feet of snow everywhere, and dudes
relative though, right?
Dudes walking around with on. I didn't pay attention to what shoes he had. I mean, it's bound to happen at some point. Unreal. We're fastly this morning, right back to daily highs anyways, all in one shot. What was this thing, 9:30 yesterday? Teasing $13 this morning. Huge move.
Fantastic report. Yeah. Easy beat, top and bottom line. The guide as well, top and bottom line. For Q4, the street was looking for 12 pennies per share on revenue. They 12 pennies per share on revenue of 176.1 million, significantly analyst estimates. Likewise here with six guidance, the full 2026 revenue guide now about 700 million to 70 million. To 29 pennies, again, well ahead of increased 23% year over year, driven in 32% in security revenue. So all the money's going there for cybersecurity.
Yeah, I mean, further get back to, I guess, 2024, we were $5, got that a couple of times, but much sense.
Oh, just to be sure, you should always double tap. I think you watch, you know what's up. When people don't do that because it's so obvious. Look, this is a weird of FSLY, so 12 and a half is this resist. You're going to see it. Okay, so it's like VWAP on like really cheap, smaller stock. So I don't like that. That's the first holding. Does give you some opportunities for, so kind of what I will be looking at, so why if it doesn't get above the volume weighted average prices, if it just trends down into that 12 and a half and then gives a trade off the 12 and a half level. About just sitting there because you hope that it holds. It's if it continues to trend down anywhere 1250, I'd start, but there's other places to look in here today. Like I said, and I didn't really get over the hooded one, but I like hood. We can break 80s. It's pretty simple. 80s, we find our support and do a little mean revert down in the mid-70s, I should say, around that 75 level that we saw in yesterday's trade. So the breakout, again, you have to watch out for false breaks. I don't want to be sitting like I probably just give it to the prior high. It's 79 and a half is top, so that kind of gives you an obvious spot. We'll give an obvious spot. If the 80 break doesn't work, I can get a 79 and a half dip. But a bit of a pass to FSLY unless it can break this trend on pre-market.
Hey, what's up, Jordan Breeze at Jordan? Yeah, if you become a member, you get Sharif's morning note. The sticky note is already free. So that's a good idea. Maybe we could include with the membership and an easy place to grab it. But it is of Instagram and Ox, so you can go find those and they're free. So one of those accounts, I think you don't know. To view all of that. It's 9:27. Just a quick little look here at some of those imbalances as we move forward right now. SOX, the big, really not much going on as far as for some NASDAQ names. Like anything of interest on here. TSLA is a rocket ship anyways. And there it goes up to 3. Other than that, there's BMNR with a small little buy. I mean, these are all very, very limited. VR Vertiv yesterday, 24% moved to the side on a great report from V. Expecting them to give back a little bit today. A monster day yesterday. So, maybe some areas 237, 238 for what I'm looking at, which the market's coming back in on NVIDIA. Oh, we got a bad wick there. I'll have to clean that up at some point. But about the market coming. NVIDIA doesn't seem to care too much about that. Wait for that. Oscar is going to be on the wise. We're talking about, what's out today, 1375. We'll see if we can get some bid on Oscar, and then we'll get SMR today. But they've already fell all the way. So almost the whole move. So I actually wrote down $16 for SMR. That looks like that'll come in right off the open. Not standing in front of this one, man. We'll wait to see the action on it and move higher. Almost for no reason. We talked about a story or old that started to get going there. So I don't know what the idea was there. And then on the 10, this one's going to be tough because I'm trying to buy these dips. I wrote down 51.50 here, yesterday's closing area for trade on the NASDAQ. This is what I'm looking at so far here today. They're all as Oscar and NVIDIA. But the focus me will be on it has the momentum to the upside, and some of these levels to them. So we'll see if we can get this 9150 here on NVIDIA. Things dipped yesterday. Speak about the dip, see what Neil's up to, but 430 here, so already 32 in the pre-market. So looking for Dibley and Tesla, another strong name here today.
This is a super chat from SoFi in the S&P this March, running second on right. It's fun betting markets that it's up there as one of the top. And we'll probably talk about it. I do think SoFi has a chance to get in this year, necessarily. And we'll talk about it. By the way, Intel with a bit of a dip into the open. As we ring the bell on this third, Intel for 50 to fade, it just fades already significantly off of the 40. I didn't see an imbalance, but I'm guessing kind of an imbalance. Oh, seriously? What did Bitcoin just...
Not much. 60 do anything? 67?
See, this has happened. I look at ETH, I look at Bitcoin, I see no move falling. So I like BM&R in the mid-20s, dropped 1.5% with zero move in anything underlying. So to me, this is weak until proven otherwise. What is the deal with this? It was yesterday where it would move down, even when you were seeing happen in ETH. Like, went sideways and BM&R would still fall.
Yes. I mean, something to take advantage of for sure. They'll see something. I'm going higher here, but we did dip down. I mean, that opening print, 1387, I'm still in 75. So no trades rate yet. Trying to dip down a little bit. I mean, the market whooshed there. I mean, we got VWAP now at 150. Still want to pay attention to that level, but only okay. I mean, we were like for NVIDIA just to push down 50 cents like that. Like it's to be thinking that could easily happen like that with sort of at any time on any one of these names. We're going to be here on some sort of a possible whooshing action. 9150 posted. Let's see if it winds up holding. I'll deal with that if and when it comes. SMR around 16. It came into 1610, but again, that was right off the open. Sit here and say we missed it because I said I want to sit there right off the open in case this move was extended to the downside even further. It's trying to hold the bid right now. SMR, so look at over there. Yesterday, and I almost added this to the list, was Robinhood, and I was going to short off 80. We didn't, so we'll have to wait to see. Yesterday's key level for me on Rob 78. It looks like he's something there today as well. Oscar pause, everybody there in the chat. But other than that, man, not really nothing's really hitting on the inner. Uber, I think, was making a move. 72.
Believe it or not.
Someone just said Ford had a nice pop there.
Ford reported this week, but we talked about the 50-period hold being based in the aftermarket show. I didn't see a catalyst this morning that could possibly forward. That said, up, you can't really hate it. Down, serious so bad. Can you just go up once so I don't like doing the when it's just rinsing people. It's more fun if it's heading a unit in a rather large way. Headed right back down lows. Yesterday they were down, I don't know, just say 35, whatever the heck it was. Another 8% here. Unfortunately. Here's the weird thing. IBIT just made a push up. ETH push up and Beal falling. So I'm sitting in front of the level and it's not coming back up. You'd think it would be bouncing with the rest of crypto.
Just took SMR and let's go. SMR dips down, ripped back up. I'm actually sitting at and get some of this out. There, give it to me. Okay, good. So there's big trade right there on SMR down into 16. I'm like, what? It broke 16 on like a little bit of candle there. Let's sit there and buy buy. So we do that buy, and again, this is something that was on the note to buy this name. You know, hopefully it can go back up to the up to celebrate half of the day goal rate. Like we said, that doesn't mean anything. Just giving you guys what we're talking about. There goes SMR right now, the upside. 80 cents in the money. You know, so far so good, but we don't necessarily want to hold this too low. Basically 15.50. So I think like it's a good sort of risk to reward right now. Money with risking about 15 cents, so 30 cents. On this one, it could easily fall back in, so we'll take it. I'm only out of a third. We don't want to be too frugal about it, but if SMR does break 50, we're going to get out. So let's put that stop in right now, 50.59. We'll just mark it out of the rest. Liquidity's fine to mark it out 5 cents or so. So I'm pretty happy. We'll trade, and let's put our next offer in and around, like go a third up. I think that'll be pretty good. So let's offer something 16.50. See if we can get out another third of that, and then high side, have to let it simmer and figure that all out. But so far so good there on SM the note, and let's see how this. Oh, here it goes. Let's see. Wow. Okay. Let's see how high this name can fit something in the 40s out there.
Yeah, nice. And by the way, not so low for NVIDIA, which is locked.
Oh no!
Losing the pre-market low.
Beyond that,
again, a 94 break for this on the note, or otherwise waiting for it to do the. Yesterday, it didn't hold on to VWAP when it made the same care, just basically on some prior support levels, which don't matter. So if we can look good, that would bot. BMR is still dropping, Bitcoin still somehow higher. It's still a lot of sense to me. And then Intel, get to 47. Yesterday it had no trouble on the dip getting all the way to 47. And we waited in 7 to get in. Looks like that was a mistake because 47.5 is absolute. But I like the long 47 until it's pressing the 50. So I'm going to try to get involved in this starts to settle down a little bit. But crazy action here. It's more volatile stock than you're these days. So if the higher low can hold, a 40, I do like the $0.50. I'll take maybe scalping it from the higher low in weighted average. At BMNR, seeing it fall further, cancel the orders there because playing is useless now. Weighted average price. We're able to get this yesterday after it dropped a good couple of percentage points. So it still has to do that initial bounce, be able to get me in on BMNR. Bitcoin not moving, and this still falling. Meant to talk about silver, but
yeah,
wait, it's still looking for an entry in BMNR as a crater.
Yeah, so we're only in one. There's only been one trade here at some. Wait on that, and then we did get down. And a lot of you guys are asking about the note. I told you it's on Instagram here on X. So here it is on X. Right? You know, we did write down people giving me the whatnot for the pink there. The TQQ is 51. We can go. Yeah, I like that. We can just hit 50. So we came close to potentially executing against a long to see if that comes back into 51.50. I'm not sitting there, but it's a dip buy area that I was thinking about. It's right here. It's a 200 period moving average on your 5-minute chart. If it wants to hold, and if you're in this name, I wouldn't be in it long. Potentially 130s as a down target to get actually reversing into the short if waking back down below. So that's what we're doing. I did on for NVIDIA. You know, I wrote 91.50, 170s there. Let's buy 190 a little bit if it does come back. Mars just dancing here again, like at this 200 average. 10% out of what we have left at this 15 mark, just because we keep on bouncing off. That would be a nice little take there, and then rest sort of matures up. We'll like that. And that can't get out of its own way. You know, Palant keeps on failing pretty much every time to the upside. But right now, like, there's a big move down again. Not big, but, you know, from 136 down to $183. And now you're making that move all the way back up. Palantir can actually, I'm not going long until we break the pre-market high. So we really got to prove that here on PLTR. I'm not games. around with it. But we do have another beginning of a trade. We do get SMR there. So that was NVIDIA coming back in. So these are the levels that we don't mind. It just at the 200 period moving average long here on NVIDIA, waiting for 191.6 area to younger. That was the top end of the range that we were in NVIDIA. So we're not doing like we did yesterday and just getting into too many shares too early. We're going to wait. We're going to wait for 191.60. If it comes in, great. And then we'll try to hold that for 191 break. And if it breaks there, scrammy on that one. But so far, it's NVIDIA and waiting to see what it winds up doing. A push down, I think, is patient with it, and let's see what happens.
I like that one.
Yeah.
You got to dodge, scram, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll do that if VWAP gets lost here on Intel. As I'll get to 47, play it off of a level it doesn't trade. So VWAP sits at 48. 10, that's going to be a moving target. I was sitting in front of the team and didn't get filled. So chased it a little bit into the 30, like a 20 price, like a 48.2 price is ideally what I want, and played it into the highs. As BM and never mind. Was actually bouncing, and I had to fade the initial bounce, but it still just keeps sustaining any moves here. So the short in BM&R is really out. Oh, Robinhood's almost at 75. So Robinhood 76, almost down into that 70. But this is a bottoming tail candle, so it doesn't all the way down. It's filled gap here. So if we can close holding that low on this candle entry, maybe off the set, it'll be off 76 effectively. The stop under this prior bar, starting to look like it wants to bounce. Intel higher, Bitcoin doing anything. I promise we look at silver, but by the way, at all could be some volatility.
Oh wow, over here. Thank you, Randy.
Oh, it's 10
espressos. Yeah, it's too late to ask it for espresso. All right, so 2 for 2 here, guys. SMR 30 cents, NVIDIA 30 cents. Sorry, we just took 25 cents there on that move higher, and here goes NVIDIA. Took a little bit more out here, and here we go, man. We're upside time. Now there goes. Put your hands up in that air. Like y'all don't, 'cause there it goes. Upside on NVIDIA, going here in for hopefully 93. I mean, we'll take a little bit out here as we get out there at 40. Now we'll wait, or whatever that was, 30. Well, I think it might have been 40. Hold on a second. That 35s right there on NVIDIA, and then we'll get back up to 193. Then we will empty out a little bit more, 190.75 or so. We're able to get it. I mean, we still are trying to dip by. Just quick little happening over there. All right, doesn't look like SE wants to go. We'll offer again something here at 20s to this. It's still 30 cents in the money. And this is celebrate NVIDIA when it goes up, but then when it comes back down, what just happened? You know, seeing this lose the bid a couple times here today. So being very, very careful. I know, so I'm in NVIDIA here. You were quickly in Intel.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, go ahead, yeah.
Oh, just to cover it on Intel, of course it's going to go. My bias from yesterday, I'm anchored to 47, 100%. We took the VWAP trade. I never fill at 48.15, so didn't get that dip buy that was further. Overnight highs. By the way, these ARC pool prints did you see are the overnight. So when it topped out there, I threw a trail. Then Intel still going higher. But on the other hand, to the upside, and it is now right and moving down. So we got the bottom wanted. We tried to get through 6.5. It looks like it wants to take out this low 140. So Robinhood, it's not quite 75 yet, but it looks like it's going on the long, and then we have to wait for a real test of the low. It hasn't really broken it yet, but I feel like it's only a matter of time. And guess it's heading to the downside, then I'm holding BM&R still. I'm trying to beat it. I feel like if I have to nibble, maybe I nibble 19 just to be able to get involved. But the play is supposed to be, and that's all the way. So Intel looked good. Robinhood gets some out, but then that just stopped out through the lows. Waiting on BM&R for the short trade. Don't far, don't want to chase, just want to be patient. Busy Trader said they had the Intel 40. Yeah, I actually liked it at not 48, but sometimes you go with action is what it is. It just never really paid off the 47 level. Give it a full percentage point, which is not how I want to roll. I like the tight stops on Intel, and then it comes back in to give us another crack at this at the volume price. Big gap to be filled. Still favor if we see front of the 50 area, shorts up there. Until proven otherwise, that's a sell on Intel.
Yeah, good trade over there on Intel, and that's the thing, man. You got it. Where your chicken dinner winners are gonna be from? There goes SMR, man. 1640. So that was a banger. Half now of our SMR. I mean, we set it there right ahead of VWAP. So advantage of that move up, and thanks you in that some of you have been taking that. We're out now. We got another little piece out there. As we said, we'll try to stay long. What the market's just doing right now. We said that we would look at 51 on the TQ. Man, oh man, that's coming in right now. I don't know if necessarily want to go long and the futures at and same time, but it's coming in. So a little bit of a look here on the TQs, and if we hold it, we miss that. So we'll bid 60s there and see if we do wind up hold 5150 area. So there it is. So now let's put it working for me. If it breaks some of those lows, then we don't even worry about it, and then do a little bit here, just in case the move is an extended move here. We want it breaks lower and it continues to go lower, then we usually stop out, because the market, when you're back and you go back to the futures, you never know where eating this, because you got to look at it. What Apple's doing, because we're just breaking lower now. What Microsoft is doing, and you can see there goes the lower right now. The TQQs is not slap flush down on that move, and there it goes now, making new lows. Let me cancel trade right now at 91, but we are seeing a downside move here on the TQs. So I'm thinking that this is something going to be focused on as the market looks to get a little lower here. Thinking about reversing into that when we broke that level. So that's going to be a trade. So let's see if that works. Maybe looking short now.
Larry Pinky and missed the Intel short. At least you were trying that level because I was waiting for higher. It is what it is. That's going to be a failed break. Any way you look at it, the pattern is now change. It's a failed break at high. It's underneath the volume weighted average price. So when Intel does back into VWAP almost every single time. I'm going to say, I don't think there's any rush on this. These are the higher lows that SLV has been putting in, which has been making all morning long. Pretty simple, break the trend work. So it's a setup. It's a matter of what price it's at when it does it. If and when it does it, we'll be looking for here on. But that Intel, wow, what an absolute nasty reversal. You don't want to see that. Now I have to wait time to start flipping short off the volume weighted on Intel, but didn't flip it in the other direction, unfortunately.
We were, okay, good. It's going to see we got that fill there. So we just flipped over now. I mean, the NASDAQ, you're now underneath VWAP. You're underneath the 50 period move. Just a 1 minute chart. For me, though, is VWAP, so we're not going to push this thing lower. We've seen the market battle back, man. It's 947 now, so this is not the sky is falling here, but it could fall. We'll hold that. Yes. All right, let's go. Still our long NVIDIA in the futures. We may lose here on NVIDIA, but I still want that. Now we canceled our 9150s there, and then now I'm going to lower on NVIDIA. I still don't long, but let's just give it a shot at 9125, and then or 25, and then we'll lose this bid if it breaks 91, right? So 90, 99 there. If it breaks it, I think it's worth a try on NVIDIA thing. We wrote down 191 to 191.50. So if we play, I think that'll be a decent here we go, man. We're almost made it all back already here on the TQ. If us SMR, we did take another out there at 20. I don't know if the market wants to bleed FOMR. We already have our out. We're out of more trade right now. If we break right here, horrible. It doesn't look like SMR necessarily long. So be with your SMR trading as this day goes. Should have. Is there, man? We're literally at this 91.50 area. Go down, we didn't money. So that part kind of sucks right there. But it's all, I mean, we're long NVIDIA, so I don't really know what we're complaining about. We should have maybe been longer. Here it goes, man. We like that. So there's an out on NVIDIA again. So good on NVIDIA will hit the sirens. The only name we've lost on so far was this TQ. And a little bit, let's put another 34 bid. Maybe we get that woo, you know, if the market, there it is. And then if the market carry forward, downside, we're there. If not, have NVIDIA long sort of coincide with, all right, business.
We do. It's existing home sales. It is probably it'll move the market. Should be something we're paying attention.
Yes, sir.
That's the chat that I wanted to address regarding whether it can continue going higher. But I did find the MNR yet, so I'm going to take my shot at this topping to consolidation and my stop above the mid 1960s. Intel is now toward that 47 level and looking in, but I did want to address it's going down. I always talk about things that are weak or technique. We don't talk about the good stories. Caterpillar up 2%. High can it go? Your guess is 800. The trend is your friend until the end when it bends back down. Cat making fresh highs because apparently the only thing higher and higher, and once again higher. Nothing. It seems to be nothing that's at this point, but there's no technical levels that I'm watching on us breaking this trend line yet.
Man, like I'm doing it again. Like we had that 190.50 there, and we could have made like the whole times over again, and we just sat there and didn't get it. It's because what happened. So that was a good one right there. As the Bears a little bit in this market. So we'll see. I'm gonna cancel. Actually, I'm at 92.50. Video. I'm still at 92.75s. So if we can get to there, I'll still take that. But they're out right there at 25 as it comes right back up for that 192, 191 quarters. But that's crazy. Again, like we've just, why, man? Like we should just trade right there. But, you know, with the market moving down, we were sure they broke through the level. Maybe the midway point might have been something there. But 190 to 191.50 there, NVIDIA. There's our TQQ trade. We tried. It broke. We took an 11s. Then we went straight now paying. That's now 18, 19 cents. March 16 long. That's irons up on that. And we actually haven't even looked at Oscars. Let's have a quick look. So all good on that. Them are, yeah, so we have about half of this on. It doesn't look like healthy right here. I'd be a move a lot higher than where it is right now for 95. See if we can get out. And because this broke down, we had written down to switch my stop 1580 right now on SMR. It pops off 50. Let's go 74s. Take a little bit of a hit. Piece there, what's the sense hit if that doesn't work out. But the future's coming back, so we're still going to wait for that price. After that, man, I can make a look at the broader market. You're in BMNR and silver. So a couple different names I'm trading.
Yeah, a little bit different. Silver finally trend or is breaking that trend. BMNR. Ooh, Robinhood got to 70. What it wants. That was on the list that I've only been in once, half out, and then 75 level is the spot that we liked a little. If I even try to draw way too shallow, it's way too steep to do anything. So I want some kind of higher low that's going to give me and we can work into. Fourth thing that I'm watching is Intel. So we longed it for market high. So if I'm looking for the short half of VWAP here, and then where we were entering the trade, previously. So action sort of sticking to the name or part of the plan. I haven't looked at anything new outside as the market's weak. Can't give a you-know-what about what's happening. Probably some strength. You can only look at so many things once. Keep your symbol. I've seen a lot of people asking about or BE post-earnings play. Cover as many as possible. We have that in existing home sales in about 5. Nothing really hitting the wire news-wise outside of SMR. Haven't been too many headlines, but there is, and we'll have that number to you in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll get those on today as well, but we're still waiting for to the upside. I do have that number in 5 minutes, but what the market is looking here today, let's just have a quick look at about some different names that may be and mad bid here. NVIDIA is trying to go upside right now. We're long that name so far, but no, SMR actually from profit-wise. We know share-wise, NVIDIA. Oh no, that's up 6%. Did that tell? Yeah, the pre-market 35, so up 6% now. To go bump. That's nice, man. We got Walmart. That continues to bleed. We did talk, and NVIDIA. We did talk about morning as well. Netflix having some problems now. $7. Wow, net. And I don't know, Adair, about this IB. Especially we couldn't find another 3% today. Like it absolutely crushed here now. IBM.
I'm seeing that it could be content because Confluent reported when I pull up the IBM, the only thing I'm seeing is really, really tenuous.
It feels closing and
Well,
votes today.
If they're buying those guys out, that's not a great look. Robinhood down 4, so that's not a good trade there today. And looking short, I know you were talking there. Berkshire, JP Morgan, thanks. The upside as well as energy. I want to get that's utilities. There it is. Ooh, not great today. XOM a bit there. Conoco up. Arrow up. Pioneer. Chevron. Yeah, a little bit of a mixed bag. They're on 1% as well. So a little bit of a mixed bag overall in the broader. Just looks like the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 its footing right now as we make news. Right, hit that money store, man. There as we go shares, and so far so good here as really starting to crank lower now. Good at 51. Oh, if we, I don't know why. Oh yeah, because we've already been down here. Break this out and get going here. There goes, man. Mark's a little bit lower.
Yeah, the moves to look weak, and I know there's pockets and kernels of scare. But yeah, the market is going to be red, and it's not looking to. We flipped from long to short. Well, I didn't really flip from long to short when going short off of VWAP on a similar thing in Menard, but silver broke that trend line. Here, C2-ish is going to be the bottom. Well, I want to bid because I was going to be off of the 20s. And then BMNR hanging off of VWAP. I promised we'd look at some others where you find shorts are working right now, all of them. Like Walmart up that 2 points, actually going to break close. Almost another all-time there. I guess it's rejecting the all-time high here in Walmart. By the way, it's not going to reflect the New York. Switch to the NASDAQ. That's why you see not that much price. That would be nice to think, but it is what it is. So Intel heading today, playing V. I still like a long at 47. And because stock, I'm playing it to the support level. Not the reverses, but looking for the short to the low of the day is the play there. And then, as I said, trend break over. Trend play to VWAP if it's top or of day at average price. It's always a pretty structured hood. That's the one that didn't work. Thankfully, we got out of it. Anything for a long entry, just because it gets to a price, I'm not one of those, I'll just automatically hit that and then try along. But there has been no here off of these lows. Doesn't mean there can't be, it just hasn't been yet.
Right. Yeah, I was just looking. SMR did get stopped, broke through the bottom. Still P&L number 1. for my would be the future coming down, but we did take that one hit there on it, and we're up on it. It's just it's not the number because there it goes bleeding, and we're just gonna wait on Nvidia. Nvidia is coming into it's already down here. We were at 5. Let's just put on a few shares now in case we don't get that fill. But remember, one of the shortest bids of all time, which we are now moments away from
Star Wars,
hopefully.
This could be the shortest offensive of all time.
Right, that's what was the offensive part. I didn't realize Star Trek or Star Wars.
Billy D. That will sound like Billy D. Williams.
It didn't really.
I don't do impressions, man.
That's okay. You don't have to. But anyways, what else? We're getting it long now. There's and now we'll wait to see. It goes through 191. I mean, the way this market is bleeding to the downside, we've got on the video just fell into our lap. I've ignored trades like this before. The market's been reacting. Some Nvidia down here and see where it goes. Right already. Numbers with the rate now.
Existing home sales for the month of January, expecting a negative 4.6% change here. Existing home sales at 3 points. That would be below that forecast of 4 point. Furthermore, 0.4% is that existing home change going to be below 4.6. The market not reacting to push lower than expected existing home sales. We're now earning in focus, guys, across the board. We had AppLovin, Cisco, Donald's, QS, QuantumScape among the earnings names that we're digesting day one plays. But I do want to talk about NVIDIA, an earnings name, but it is one of the ones been trading this one. NVIDIA, apparently you'll headquarters look there, Taipei City headquarters. Meanwhile, also going to be an earnings play today, but it will be tomorrow. They report earnings after, of course. Neil and Brendan right here at this desk at 4 p.m. Coinbase at 4:10 p.m. and getting a downgrade from Maness, Crespi, and Hart. Now we know Robinhood had crypto revenue. Let's see if the same Coinbase in their report to you.
Here we go, man. The face. Thank you, Adara. Slapper is back and see if it can get going one more time. We're going to buy. So there it is. Yes, let's go right now. Again, in kind of a day. Going one more. We just listen to ourselves. They sort of a game. We take it. We believe in ourselves. And it's giving another one, followed by another one. But for right now, this is what it's the TQs. Clock that out right there. And we'll take some bids. NVIDIA to the moon. We'll see how high this name can go up there. Let's see it keep going a little to the north. There we have higher. So, VWAP in the 200 period. We definitely taking advantage of 5-period moving average back up to that level. So just clocking out on the upside as it just get to the the levels that we NVIDIA could still 100%. We're only out at 25% of this.
Yeah, and speaking of which, got that INTC come up, but the market is trying to press higher, still is pressing. I'm going to give it to the volume weighted average price. And also Robinhood, no entry. There was an entry kind of trade around that 75 zone. This bounce, that's where it fell before. We have a bit of a trend line break here on Hood. But I need to see it the trend be absolutely nothing for me. Interesting is BMNR was how it worked. BMNR is doing one day without ETH is actually at 1977, still 1,000 spot. So I'm going to continue adding and then scalping the range because if ETH isn't pressing with the future, if ETH isn't pressing with the bottom, then we shouldn't really blow out the top. So much of anything with the exception of Hood looking a little bit better. And still strength. Mart won't even pull back into VWAP. That's fantastic. We haven't Meg 7 name. I don't think that Apple's dipping. Usually when those tech names were dropping, Apple was showing strength. I think they're not liking that Siri headline from yesterday, because distinctly price action here in Apple. Used to seeing it up like this in the morning and seeing app strength pattern. If you happen to be watching this name, and you should watch Zine, the rest of the cues.
Yeah, I almost had. I was gonna add to the Apple, and we didn't do it. It was gonna be at that 176 level. Yeah, so far so good on Apple shorts. That's I think Nvidia might be had that huge move up, and the market didn't really do anything. Fell right back in. So we're gonna take some more out here, man. I took the 45 right now, just trying to like scalp it and make sure that we can take some more out here at 43 if we can. Oh, look, it wipes itself right. Yeah, watch out. This breaking 191, I'm out of this. Not gonna like feel dumping it. Like that's gonna be my decision, and then we'll this if ever comes back and looks like it has a bit under, just does not. As the futures were counteracting the loss, well, not the loss, the trade, the TQs. I mean, that's right there as we continue to go. Watch out for AMD, same sort of a reaction. Down is bounced back higher and now wants to come back. AMD is like that bounce back was 12, so basically a $2 bounce back on Nvidia. We got so we have to make sure that we're trading the right name. For again out, all we've been doing is getting out every time it kind of pops back. Hopefully we can left for the run for Nvidia. Not looking the greatest. Back in again, 5090. Yeah, go. That's that.
Yeah, IBM continuing to fall. I don't know the closing date, but 89% sure the vote on Confluence is 262 is in here on IBM. If you happen to, we're going to go up to a day. Maybe it's just a news update.
Also, apparently, because we have at least two testimony going on right now, but the one that I'm going to talk to you guys about here is SEC chickens testifying site of the Securities and Exchange Commission in front of the Senate Housing Committee. Story I'll be listing now. Again, SEC chickens testifying. Now, I bring this up. Crypto could possibly be mentioned. There are already mentions of cricket. Any comments that I see of note, I'll keep you. All
right, man. NVIDIA more. And thank you for all the comments, energy, and everything today. It's been a good yesterday. Like I said, I thought one of the best shows. I'll repeat that today with hopefully another. But okay, starting to go Qs. We just getting more out on the Qs, man. What this market really now. Let's take a quick look at Robinhood, a name that's been beat up just for 4% to the downside. This is not a name that I'm into, so I not have a bottom, and if it does, it'll be right here. $70. I mean, we're not there yet. 71.05 recent low right there to have a look for. I think there's a chance following this 25 period moving average. Also, that would be there. We just got NVIDIA right there. It's not bad. 190s. So that's a pretty decent for NVDA. Not really concerned about it, but definitely not as aggressive as I'd like it. Tomorrow already came out. This is still, after all of this, man, P&L one if it keeps going, but SMR one stock today. We don't have any. We have the Qs, which is great. I mean, we were real quick and then good trade, SMR and NVIDIA. So 3 for the other thing. Yeah, all 3 of these names on the note are keeping follow our sort of game plan right here. But this is broke. NVIDIA breaks. Well, here it goes. NVIDIA breaks 191. The hoop on this NVIDIA trade took a bunch out on the upside, and sometimes we get a little bit nervous about missing levels and getting names out too many times. Seeing it like continuously reach spot to be outs, and then if it rips up, you just say, you got me, man, shares, and that's all the time, obviously, in this market, but we'll stay green. We've just talked about that. Lost that bid on NVIDIA. The TQ really good there, so we'll put another bid on that, take another, and there it goes, man. Water, man, be able to adjust your based on what flow. Yeah, so there it goes, man. Cash flow. Now, one not video. I mean, I don't want to go long, just this big flush. So there's our one break, and then boom to the downside. So and video.
Yeah, as the market made a fresh low, judgment call, silver pulled back, immediately stalled, so it's not falling with the market anymore. So I just mean reversion trade. It wasn't off or anything, and thank Robinhood, like it really, like it could not break. Like there's your. This would be the entry candle, but I didn't really pass the prior, and then the next for an entry was sort of an obvious kind of candle, not setting up very well. R is holding, should be beaming up low of the day here. Tried to reload off VWAP, but we're just a full range. But like that silver trade down when the market, the reason trimming almost all of these. As far as Intel goes, pretty well. Over 48, went short VWAP. That part, we got this bottom touching 40, 50. It's just kind of dancing around. So something more clear, flipping off of the volume weighted average price. I feel like times and you're just sort of making a mess of it. So I'll just wait for the 50 level, 47, or something that sets up on Intel. There's nothing wrong with just being, it worked, to press it too much further than it's still broken time. And I'm considering, well, I shouldn't say that. I'm looking at, but I was asking myself if I want here again, but I got a rule. Because it's testing the 200 period, I'm not the same week. I'm a DCA once a person. If I'm DCAing a stock, I'll buy it at least until the next earnings report. Feel a thing in the long. It is looking like a bit of a value for IBM. Can't do something. I'm not buying it. Be pretty certain to go through.
Yeah, I don't know what. Well, no, it's Confluence didn't make any money for them. So, all right, man. I said we would NVIDIA again, so I'm trying. And it was just a matter of like we just aggressively get there back up to the upside. I think we're at a pretty good level one here, 91.50. So I'm thinking like a probably to see. We did hold that low. What was it the day before, where we sort of wicked and made some lows. Hold it. Time 10.20. We went into 1.8. It was even yesterday. Right there, and then we were able to hold a little bit before, obviously, it was 2 days ago, and then there's yesterday's move 30. Quick damage to the downside, and then again, look back and be like, wow, there it was through, and then it started to go back. We'll just see if we can hold on to NVIDIA a little. Now, it was, we did average it in. If it comes back up here, 150, 90, 140 for there. And then that way, if it continues to, if it's sort of, if it does come back up to the, then we will have it. We're on NVIDIA, so it's all good there. Keeps getting faded out. So with that long, we'll still stick with the market. And then we'll look at these low cap names from Adara.
Did have some public that were just mentioned hearing, so I do want to go over it again. Necessarily moving the market, being aware of Coinbase and dropped here by Senator Elizabeth Warren. The Senate Finance coming out and basically saying that cases against these after they donated to, I guess, the. So either way here, there's just some allegations, I guess, of inappropriate things, of cases with Coinbase being made by the senator. And this is just during this do questioning of the witness, who is Paul Atkins, so it could come up again. Back to you.
Thanks. Before I throw it back to Neil, about it before we get onto some here. So yeah, AP's on the indicator right now. So app or anything like looking for our to open. So are we? It just does not want to give us the goods rate. So AP's indicated open is $18. That's the got last night, that range of the pricing starts to hit, and we see something here. It may be on your midday show, so that winds up coming through as well. So watch here on AP, and we'll just keep you guys to cover that. Some more outs on NVIDIA as sort of strategic as we can, breaking this 25 period. We'll take outs as it goes and then just eventually break it. Looking for here, trying to get back upside on this little move here at 67s. Hopefully, there it goes. We get it. So now things mature up. And if we can now 90s, then we're all good on this one. It's too bad piece go, but that's okay. It's working out for us at NVDA, and about 20% left of our TQ position. In case there is here at 10s, there it is. We get that up as we watch out for NVIDIA accelerating now to the north side.
Yeah, I just got it. It's not doing what it did yesterday. VWAP, put in that silver, covered that Intel, but this the bottoming tail candle you see in the NASDAQ for another opportunity to jump. That's interesting. There's a bunch of stacks as well. Data, nothing on those either. 3 SPACs again today. This is for SPACs.
Saying that maybe it's time.
I've seen like 10. I want to say that IPO today, which is absolute utter nonsense. I don't want to get into one of those. Yeah. They all-time highs. All of a sudden, everyone's coming out of the. We have a special acquisition company, which is going to find you.
Yes,
that we're going to pick up. But Intel, we had wait till it does the topping tail. I was involved in a couple of. I'm still going to swap as long as it presents itself here. But just want to be patient. We're flat on BM and hit, but thankfully we didn't fight it because it continued to go low. Hell and silver. I'm looking for next for some continuation. Like eyeballs just everywhere. AMD is very similar. Break, lower high play. You're watching that. Micron trending average price. So you have a bunch of chip names which are doing. If I see one or two of them break, there's no in try and short because I want it to be a short. So it's got to be next entry, and it might be a re-entry. I wasn't given any stock. You're still pressing in. Maybe some of these highs on the line turn from into resistance. So I would let this float before entering that trade. And shout out to everyone in the chat with just moving. It's not. That would have been more fun. Grunfeld in the chat. S level. Second I saw Owen $9.80. Answer is no, so I am not looking to trade it. I put the trade after what I saw yesterday. Line on the chart just pop up. I think it's a good reversion spot. There on OND. It's a stock that moves. I have a key level % away, unfortunately.
Okay, yeah, and just aware of the strategy right here. Get out now of NVDA, so more out spot happening back into the downside right now. It's only lots of more room here to continue to make moves. So it does wind up in just a little bit. Yeah, maybe just 50 and regrouping there. So how much shares do we have left? Let's go to 39, whatever. We'll get if it does. We've already indicated that it's relatively weak against the market. I thought, anyways, even though it's still, I was hoping it would with NVIDIA. So right there, and this is why, honestly, why didn't that just stop out 91? Oh, I put 91. 191. All right, 191 right there out of breaks. Okay, so there. All right, I was like, right. So there it goes. All right, boom. So that works out well there. That the hot dog cannon right there for NVIDIA might not be the right one, but at least. So there we go. That last little piece. We only had 20% left right now. So now we have actually, no, now we have 20% left. 50% left of this trade. Let's see what now with NVDA. The Qs to look at the sector. Here's the DXY. Is moving lower, but not aggressively. Side a little bit there. So again, a weaker good for some of these multinationals. Why? As far as you're playing that importing and exporting. I saw yesterday the House overturned the Canadian tariff. That's exciting.
The Republicans crossed the house for that. I chastised for it heavily.
And once that comes across Donald's desk, I'm sure he is deal, but at least to know this
it's symbolic.
Yeah, support there from House on that McDonald's as well. They ticked up to 330 there. A rebound here, up 1%. Super chat. Then let's now. Okay, we're talking symbol up here on Curtis Wright. I have no idea. Corp. I know what Curtis Jackson Corp is.
Yeah,
But yeah, Dara, I just shout out Dara. Do you mind finding the? Okay, she cannot find earnings.
Okay, there are earnings, but I couldn't pull our signal. So I don't know if that's like an issue here. Sales beat better than expected. It looks like report
there for CW. We'll call that.
Chart is way.
Yeah, we can call a quick little look to see what exactly is going on. CW there. Decent report. Looks like it's coming out on CW. I have no idea what they but nice upside play there.
Headline says selected by Boeing. Provide mission computer to U.S. Air Force. Kind of like an industrial company, if